Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Guns and Guitars, and today I'm very excited because I'm going to finally start doing something that I've been wanting to do for a couple years. Ever since I bought this property, I have wanted to set up a pistol and subsonic rifle range. A couple of reasons why I bought this property. One, it's outside city limits, so it is legal for me to shoot on this property. And two, as you can see behind me, I have this dope backstop that will be perfect for catching any stray bullets. So I'm going to be setting up this cool little kind of short range pistol range here so that I can film some Guns and Guitars content right here on my property, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of show you some of my favorite target systems that I'm using now. So in this video, I'm gonna kind of show you my philosophy for which targets I'm going to use, why I'm setting them up that way, the sort of training drills that I plan to use them for. I just thought it'd be fun to take you guys along for the ride. So I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, let's get started. Now, while you guys are watching me pound in some T-posts real quick, I just want to disclose that I am an ST7 affiliate, that's Shooting Target 7, and so the majority of the targets and target systems that I'm going to be promoting today do come from Shooting Target 7. Now, I am a Shooting Target 7 affiliate because it is the best deal on AR500 steel targets online. So here we are at the 10-yard line where I set up two T-posts side by side, about 18 to 20 inches apart. T-posts because they are a cheap and readily available resource. They can take a hit if you hit them. So I really like T-posts. And if you live in a more rural area like me, you might even come across them free from time to time. I mean, I have a jackpot of T-posts laying over there just because I was driving past somebody's house and they had them out in the yard with a free sign. And so I just took them all. And ST7 has some really cool T-post mounts, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But first, we're actually not going to look at an ST7 target. We're going to look at something else. This is from shootouttargets.com. And you'll see in just a second, but there's some little foam inserts that you can put in these little holes, and great for air guns and rimfire. You just stick them in and then you just punch them out as you're shooting. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted these T-posts this exact distance. So I just use a couple of spring clamps to mount it up real quick, and then I can pop in my little foam inserts and they just pop right out. And so that's super fun, especially if you're training with your children. They're very satisfying. The foam is self-healing, so you can see they can take more than a few hits, but overall, this target system is perishable. And so that's probably the biggest drawback to it is, you know, this little setup right here is like $20 or $30. Depending on how much shooting you do, it'll last you about a year, and then you got to buy another one. Another thing that I don't love about this system is that it's not really good on windy days, and where I live, it's actually windy more often than not. And I found that just kind of a gentle breeze can kind of just knock those things out sometimes, and it's really annoying. But all of that to say doesn't mean they're not incredibly fun to shoot. So I do really like these, so I'll put a link in the description where you can get those. I'm not affiliated with that brand at all, but they are super cool targets I think you guys should know about. Another obvious reason why I like having T-posts this close together is that I can just clamp on a regular piece of cardboard, use some peel and stick reactive targets, use that for sighting in guns, or draw a silhouette on there, practice your quick draws, trying to hit the alpha zone, you know. Really great training, especially at the 10-yard line, doing build drills and stuff like that. Costs nothing, unless you want to get some peel and stick reactive targets, in which case I've got a link to the best deal on those on Amazon down in the description. Now thirdly, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these because I actually have a whole video dedicated to it, so I'll put an iCard up for that video as well as a link down in the description, but these are AR500 T-post hangers, and they just slide directly onto a T-post like this, and then you can take your hanging gong, just hang it up there right like that. And man, I really need to, I'm gonna have to paint that because you can't even hardly see it in front of the bushes. In fact, I'm gonna paint that right now. Now you might notice that's a Bullseye gong. Essentially, it's a 10-inch plate with a 4-inch plate behind it with a 3-inch hole cut out. So you really get two targets in one. So you don't have to transition between doing your quick shooting and your like precision shooting. You can use the same target for both. And when you hit that center gong, it makes a different sound, and it just feels so good. So I actually call them dope gongs because you hit that bullseye and it's like, oh man, that was dope. And ST7 has a few more versions of those, which you'll actually see as I set up the rest of them. So the next target system that I want to show you guys is the new Ultra Mega target system from ST7. And this is by far the best target system that they've ever come out with. And I'm gonna compare it to the old, I believe this was called the Super Lock system. And as you can see, it just required a lot more metal, so it was a lot more expensive, and it was less versatile. Versus this one, it is designed to be adaptable to T-posts or 2x4s, depending on what kind of target system you like to use. Again, I already explained why I prefer T-posts, but if you, I don't know, work construction or something and you have a lot of access to scrap 2x4s, because obviously, you know, they don't have to be perfect. They can be warped, they can be weathered, they can be broken, but you're literally shooting at them. So if that's what you have access to, you can just rearrange these little spacers so that this thing will just slide down on top of a 2x4 just as easy as it does onto a T-post. But that's not the only super cool versatile thing about this. Again, with the super locks, this is all it did, was hold your target. But the Ultra Megas have a couple more options for hanging additional targets off of the same T-post, which is again why I have two of them side by side. So you may have noticed the 1-inch holes that are drilled into the Ultra Mega hangers, and that's so that you can slip through a piece of 1-inch steel conduit and you can turn a 2-target system into a 5-target system. And again, 1-inch steel conduit, it's something that's cheap and readily available at your local hardware store. It can actually take a hit. I've hit these with 9mm and they've survived. I've hit them with 223 and they have not survived, so don't hit them with 223. But rimfire and small pistol calibers, it can take a hit. So that's really good news for, you know, electricians, right? Because you guys have access to scrap pieces of this all the time, I'm sure. But again, you have other options. If you actually have more access to lumber, you notice the little squares cut out in the back. You can run through a 2x3. It doesn't quite fit a 2x4, but you can run a 2x3 in between the two and then just use lag screws to mount your targets as well. Hanging from this 1-inch conduit, we have the real budget-friendly Ultra Mega hangers, which I absolutely love. These things are awesome. I love how easily they swing and how much noise they make. In fact, I actually like it better than these Bullseyes. These Bullseye gongs are great. They make a little bit of sound when you hit them. They make a really cool sound when you hit the bullseye, obviously. But I love watching these things swing back and forth when I hit them and that extra loud ping that they make. So this is definitely hands down my new favorite target system. I take it out with me on the actual range, but I also wanted to make sure I had a spot to set it up here as well. So I think at this point you could probably see why I love ST7 so much. It's just so innovative, it's so versatile, it's so easy to set up and tear down because obviously here at my house I have a lot more time to be able to set up and tear down stuff, but when I'm running out to the range, like those are precious minutes, and so I want to be set up and I want to tear down as quickly as possible just to maximize fun time at the range, right? And then also they're affordable. For example, this 8-inch paddle right here is only like $20 to $30 depending on the thickness that you get. I think this is 5/16, so it's 25 bucks. And then the hanger is only 10 bucks. So remember how I said for about $20 or $30 for the cardboard setup, and then you have to replace it next year. For 20 or 30 bucks, you can get a steel gong that you won't ever have to replace ever again. And then next year, you can get another one, and then another one. Pretty sure that Mark over ST7 will be doing some sort of free paddle deal on Black Friday or just in general for Christmas. So usually that's about $49, and he'll toss in some extra paddles as well as free shipping over $99. And so it really is worth it to try to hit that $49 or $99 mark so you can take advantage of that, because that definitely makes this a much better value. And so if you're just, you know, a few bucks away, some really cheap things that you can get to kind of push your shopping cart over that limit are, well, one, I already talked about the T-post hangers. Those are fantastic. You'll definitely get your money's worth out of those. But also, if you don't end up getting the Bullseye gongs, you can get magnetic stencils so that you can paint your normal paddles to be more like a Bullseye target gong. Of course, if you're just a few dollars away, I would actually recommend replacing one of these with a Bullseye gong because I just absolutely love them. This video is already epically long and we're only at the 10-yard line. So let's back up and I'll show you 15, 20, and 25. All right. So down here at the 15-yard range, we have a Bullseye torso silhouette, and this guy also needs to be painted. And again, I'm hanging them with the old Superlock target system, which has been replaced by the Ultra Mega. I'm hoping to replace these with Ultra Mega hangers here pretty soon, just because they're so much more versatile. And these Bullseye torsos also have a magnetic stencil. Again, if you're just trying to get your shopping cart over that dollar amount for free shipping or a bonus item, these are great add-ons. So just a great way to turn one target into like 4 or 5 targets, right? But honestly, I don't really find myself doing that a whole lot. I usually just find myself, especially when I'm at the range and I don't want to fiddle with stencils, that I will just lift up the Bullseye gong from the back and spray paint it from the back, and that does a good enough job for me. All right, so I'm here now at the 20-yard line, and at obviously 15, 20, and 25, I just have a single T-post. So I've got some freedom. I'm kind of intending this gun range to be a bit modular, so I can either put up another Bullseye torso silhouette, but I'm thinking at 20 yards would be a good range to kind of practice a more precise shot. So I'm just going to throw up just a 10-inch standard, a 10-inch standard paddle gong. And again, you know, if you can afford to get the Bullseye gongs are great. But if you need to save a little money, these are almost as fun. So you don't have to use Bullseyes with the new Ultra Mega hangers, but you certainly can. And you can also use just standard paddles as well. And then down here at 25, again, I think this might be a good distance for a torso. But of course, it's meant to be modular. I can switch these around, put whatever size plates I want. And then lastly, I have my Know Your Limits targets. And again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I do have a dedicated video for it. So look for that iCard or the link down in the description to watch that. But out in front here, I'm going to have my rimfire Know Your Limits targets because they're tiny and I want to actually be able to hit them. So they're up here at the 10-yard line. And then I'm going to take my centerfire Know Your Limits targets out to like 50 yards. That'll be a good range for me to practice my subsonic rifle calibers like 300 Blackout. I even have an 8.6 Blackout that I'm really excited to try. I'm just waiting on my suppressors to come. So make sure you are subscribed if you want to see what kind of suppressor content I'm going to be making as soon as I get approved on my E-Form 4s. I'm way beyond the average time right now, so I'm expecting that phone call any day. I also have a coupon code, Guns and Guitars, will save you 10% on any purchases throughout the entire year at Shooting Target 7. Of course, right now they've got better coupon codes available. I think it's 15% off right now. I do appreciate it if you would use my affiliate link down in the description. That's really helpful for my channel. Now, I am still waiting for my suppressors to come, but that doesn't mean I need to wait to try out my new pistol range. Okay, I mentioned in a previous video, if you guys wanted to see a segment on the channel called Air Guns and Air Guitars, to let me know, and some of you guys actually said yes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and have some fun with an air gun right now. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and I'll see you in that next video.